Welcome and thanks for joining us at EMII.com. I'm Caitlin Sisney with your Capital Markets Report. Today is Wednesday, March 26, 2008. Georgia Power sold $250 million in floating rate senior notes last week. It is the first of 3 offerings around the same size this year that will either repay short-term debt or fund environmental upgrades at coal plants, according to Power Finance and Risk. Managing Director of Capital Markets for parent company Southern in Atlanta, David Brooks, says Georgia Power will tap the debt markets again around July and then around December for the next offerings. Staying with capital markets news, JPMorgan Chase raised its takeover offer for Bear Stearns to $10 a share after shareholders criticized the initial offer of just $2 per share, according to International Securities Finance. The new offer raises the value of the distressed bank from around $236 million to approximately $1.1 billion. The banks announced that the board of directors of both companies have approved the amended agreement and that all members of Bear Stearns' board indicated they intend to vote their shares in favor of the revised takeover. The Federal Reserve is leaving JPMorgan Chase responsible for the first $1 billion of any losses associated with the Bear Stearns assets. And in other capital markets news, the Australian newspaper has reported that the Australian superannuation fund Equipsuper Limited has ceased its share lending activities. The newspaper cited the reason for the pension fund taking the action as concern over market manipulation by short selling, according to International Securities Finance. Chief Executive of Equipsuper, Robin Burns, said, quote, "The markets are becoming much more volatile and it is not in the best interest of our members to lend out shares, particularly if the shares are being used to short stocks and drive shares below what they could otherwise reach." Azerbaijan's RabitaBank has signed a $5 million syndicated loan financing with World Business Capital, the U.S. commercial finance company, to support its SME lending, according to Trade Finance. The 10-year loan is ratified by the Overseas Private Investment Corporation. WBC President and CEO Brett Silvers tells Trade Finance, quote, "This is the first financing WBC has done with RabitaBank. We are a specialty finance company that focuses on long-term project financing for small and mid-sized businesses. Part of our exposure is mitigated by OPIC through a credit guarantee for the transaction. Despite the turmoil in the U.S. economy, we have seen continued demand for capital in the emerging markets." And that rounds out today's Capital Markets Report. Thanks for joining us on EMII.com. For more details on these stories and much more, click on our Capital Markets channel online and read the latest developments.